Hi guys, I am Talisa with Talisa Aquarist, and today I'm going to be going over the top 10 fish that I would keep in a 10-gallon tank. Now, something for you to keep in mind is this is my top 10 favorite list. You guys may have a list that looks completely different than mine. That is perfectly okay. These are fish that I have kept in tanks similar to 10 gallons or have in 10 gallons currently. I'm going to start at number 10 being my least favorite and go all the way down to number 1 being my favorite to be keeping in a 10-gallon tank. I'm pretty sure you guys already know what's going to be my favorite fish to keep in a 10-gallon tank, but if you want to find out, stick around to the end. Another thing that I also want to mention before I get started with listing the fish is I'm saying this, and I would not keep more than 4 to 5 fish in a 10-gallon tank ever. So when I'm giving this list of fish, let's say I say guppies. Well, I don't mean keep 10 guppies in a 10-gallon tank. I mean, like, start out with 2 and then they will have lots of babies and sell off those babies, and don't ever keep more than like 4 to 5 adult guppy fish in the tank. I would keep it more at 2 because they do breed like rabbits. But yeah, so as I go through this list, and I will be specific with some of this, as I go through this list, I would say, okay, I wouldn't keep more than this many in a tank. Part of the reason for that is my tanks personally do not have filters. Well, some of them do, I guess, but my 10-gallon tank does not have a filter. It has a thick layer of substrate that filters the tank for me, and it has lots of plants that also help keep the water parameters where they need to be at. So if I were to just add 10 fish to the tank, it would totally disrupt the cycle of the tank. And even if you do have a tank that has a filter in it and you do weekly water changes, you do not want to just be adding 10 fish to the tank, because the cycle of that tank will crash. So now that being said, let's get started. So coming in at number 10, I have guppies. The reason guppies is my least favorite on the list is because guppies could easily, very quickly overpopulate your tank and crash the cycle of your tank. So if you are going to keep guppies in a 10-gallon tank, please use wisdom as you add them to the tank and try to keep the babies sold off. Don't let it get all crazy. Definitely do weekly water changes after they've had babies and the babies are growing up, right? They're going to be producing a lot more waste. So just keep that in mind. And coming in at number 9 is African dwarf frogs. African dwarf frogs can be kept in a tank even smaller than 10 gallons. 10 gallons is great if you want to have multiple. Like what I said earlier, about 4 to 5 would be great for a 10-gallon tank. They're very cute and they're entertaining to watch. I think it's something that children would really enjoy to keep in a fish tank. And coming in at number 8 is the auto sinkless catfish, known as autos. People just call them autos. These fish are very busy and they help clean the tank. They clean all over. They're not just bottom feeders. They swim all over the tank. They clean the plants and the glass, and they're entertaining to watch, and I personally find them pretty cute. And coming in at number 7 is Corydora catfish, also known as Cory cats. Cory cats, I would not keep more than 4 of these in a 10-gallon tank. They do group together, so let's say if you're going to have Cory catfish in a 10-gallon tank, I would add 4, and I would not add any more fish to that tank. I would just have 4 Cory catfish on sand in a 10-gallon tank. They're entertaining. They're bottom dwellers, so they'll stick to the bottom of the tank. They're not as fun to watch, at least for me personally, but they're still good, and they can help break down waste at the bottom of the tank and help keep your tank clean. And coming in at number 6 is Neite snails. I personally love Neite snails. The one thing some people don't like about them is they will lay hard white eggs all over the tank that are unable to hatch unless they're kept in brackish water. So the whole list I'm giving you is for freshwater fish. So obviously my Neite snail eggs are not hatching out in my fish tanks, which I don't mind. I don't mind seeing little white dots all over the tank. It doesn't bother me, but that is something to keep in mind if you don't want to see that. And coming in at number 5 is mystery snails. I love mystery snails. I give my mystery snails names and I don't name any of my other snails. Mystery snails are just large, and for me they're entertaining to watch. They just cruise all over the tank, and they come in all different colors, and they can get quite large. And coming in at number 4, we have Pest snails. Now, I know that this sounds crazy to be on a fish list for top 10 fish, but I love my Pest snails. I have them all over in all of my tanks because they're called pest snails because they just reproduce like crazy. And a lot of people don't like them because they have a lot of waste in the tank. But I like them because they help break down the waste of other fish, and they turn that into mulm at the bottom of the tank, which then in turn sifts down through the sand and feeds the plants. So they just help create a complete ecosystem. Without pest snails, you wouldn't have the complete ecosystem in your tank. I think they're pretty important for a tank. And obviously you can have a lot more than 5. Like, I would add pest snails to the addition of whatever 4 to 5 fish you put in your 10-gallon tank, and I wouldn't worry about them overloading the system. They're great to have in your tank. And coming in at number 3 is the dwarf gourami. Dwarf gouramis are so pretty. They're larger fish. They typically stay about in the middle of the tank. They're middle to top of the tank. So if you put them in with a few Corydora catfish, I already said I would only have Corydora catfish in the tank, but if you have like a 20-gallon tank maybe, you could have the Corydora catfish and the dwarf gourami all living peacefully. And dwarf gouramis also come in all different colors as well. I think there's like 3 or 4 different colors of dwarf gouramis. I think they're beautiful fish and I enjoy watching them. And coming in at number 2 is shrimp. Now, in a 10-gallon tank, I would keep as many shrimp in there as I wanted to. I would probably start out with 4 or 5, and they're going to multiply quickly. You'll be seeing babies in there after a few weeks, most likely. And as they get to be, maybe if there's 50 shrimp in the tank, start selling some of them off. I love shrimp. They help keep things clean, and they're just fascinating to watch. And coming in at number 1, my top favorite fish to keep in a 10-gallon tank is a betta fish. Betta fish make great pets. They interact with their owners, and they're just more sociable than most of these fish that I just listed. You can see Nemo back here behind me. He's just watching me film. They are friendly and outgoing for the most part. They like to flare and be angry at their reflection. They build cute little bubble nests. I just love betta fish. I think they're great. So obviously I would recommend keeping a betta fish in a 10-gallon tank. And I will have a video coming out possibly this week or later next week of fish that I would keep with a betta fish. So let's say you have a 10-gallon tank and you put a betta fish in there and you're like, oh, what can I keep with my betta fish? Well, I will have a video coming out with a list of that as well. So please subscribe if this video is helpful to you and if you would like to see future content. I try to post multiple times a week. So thank you guys for watching.